Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late, a couple of little technical hitches, but we're here now. My name is Sam Grayston. On today's Google Hangout, we're going to be talking about the financial half-year results of the Co-operative Group, particularly in the South and West region, which is where we're based for this broadcast. We've got an array of guests with us today, but just so you know, views expressed today are personal views, not necessarily those of their employer, although we are going to be looking at some of the specific facts and figures relating to the Co-operative Group. Okay, so my first guest today is Andrew North, who's the Regional Secretary for the South and West region of the Co-operative Group. Hello, Andrew, how are you?
Hi, Sam, fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Yes, in the end, which is a relief. Also with him in the regional office in Devon is Paul Chudley, who's the Regional Operations Manager from Co-operative Food. Hello, Paul, how are you?
Good morning, Sam. Fine, thank you.
Great, good. And also joining us on Hangout, we've got Tricia Davies, who is the Chair of the South and West Regional Board. Hello, Tricia.
Hello, Sam.
Are you there, Tricia?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, no, we can't hear your microphone. We need to do something about your microphone. While you're working on that, we'll make a start with maybe Paul and Andrew and see if we can get back to you in a little bit. Okay, so anyone watching, please feel free to submit a question if you want to today. We'll do our best to get through the questions. We've got the question and answer app going on the event page of Google+, or we've also got the comment stream on YouTube as well, so you can try and use that. If you're using Twitter, you can follow us at Co-op_memberW. And get involved using the hashtag CoopMM, which is for members meeting. This is the first broadcast we're trying today, so it's a bit of a brave new world for us, but it's all about trying to expand our audience and talk more widely about things that the Co-operative Group have been up to. So thank you very much for watching. So without further ado, let's start exploring the half-year results for the Co-operative Group. As everyone's aware, 2014 has been a challenging year for the group. So, Andrew, can you give us a bit of an overview about how the Co-operative Group has performed nationally, and then a bit of an overview of the South and West region and its performance?
Sure, thanks, Sam. You're right in saying it's been a really tough year for the Co-operative Group. So what I'm going to do is I'll give some of the highlights, some of the significant occurrences, and then talk about the figures and how people can find out more about them. So, over the last 6 months, we've focused really on putting the building blocks in place which allow the Co-operative Group to move from rescue to rebuild. Over the year, we've focused on rescuing the group. Much has been achieved as we addressed our commercial recovery, the reform of our constitution, and also how we were going to reduce our debts. And members will remember that in 2013, we reported a statutory comprehensive loss of £2.5 billion. Now, for the first half of 2014, we've actually reported an operating profit of £43 million. This is a profit, and though it's lower than last year's, it shows that we've got lots of work to do. Some of the reason for the reduction in profit is because we've had to pay interest, and we've had to pay more interest because we've had to borrow some more money. And also we've seen a decline in the profits of some of our businesses as well. So the emphasis now is about working to develop a business which is sustainable. You probably know, Sam, that the group sold Pharmacy and Farms to organisations which share our values, and also organisations which were best suited for the people who are employed by those businesses. And we're going to use those proceeds in a number of ways. Significantly to reduce our debts, and that will obviously reduce our interest payments as well. It'll give us the funds to meet our obligations to the cooperative bank. It'll give us some money to invest in our pension fund. But hugely important is that it'll give us the money to invest in our businesses. So the full details of our interim review are actually available on our corporate website. And Sam, I think, are you going to give the details of that later?
Yeah, we'll make sure that all the links to everything that we talked about today will be available on the Google+ event page and the YouTube page. Yeah.
Brilliant, thanks, Stan. So in food, sales on a like-for-like basis were 1% higher. In our core convenience chain, they were 4% higher, which shows some of the successes that we're starting to have. And obviously you need to note that this is against the backdrop of the figures announced by some of our competitors fairly recently. Nationally, we opened 21 new stores and we launched 780 new products, and we revamped a further 2,500 lines. We did have a profit decline in food. We planned to have that because we needed to invest in price. We needed to reduce our prices to bring them into line with our competitors. And also, we sold some of our larger stores, which are not part of our core business portfolio. So I won't try and explain all the numbers now because the details are all online. What I'll do is I'll just give you some of the highlights, and I'll give you an overview then of what's happened in the region as well. For the second half of 2014, what we want to do is we need to start to rebuild and renew our cooperative. And we're planning to take about 3 years on this. What this will mean is that there'll be more investment in our businesses, there'll be many more new products, there'll be a number of new food stores, and there'll be an emphasis on better service in our food stores as well. And we're also going to take a very close look at all of our different businesses and invest substantially in them so that we're providing a good offer to our members. We also have to significantly reduce our costs. In the region, I think Paul a bit later on is going to touch on some of the events in food, but our sales and profit figures actually match the trends nationally. And again, I won't explain the figures in detail because members can have a look at those and read them at their leisure. But in summary, Sam, we know that we've got a lot to do, but we know that we've planted the seeds of our recovery. It's been a tough year, but there's promise of better times ahead as we rebuild our business and we fulfil our purpose of championing a better way of doing business for you and your communities. Thanks, Sam.
Great. Thanks very much for that update, Andrew. Sounds promising future. While we're still over there in Devon, Paul, can you give us a bit of an overview of the food business? Obviously, most of our customer members' relationship is through our food business. Can you tell us a bit about food's performance, particularly in the Southwest, over the last year or so?
Certainly. So far this year, sales for the food business in the Southwest have been just over £776 million, and this has been achieved within a very competitive marketplace. So what's been happening across the Southwest to achieve this? Well, the food business has opened new stores in Bournemouth, Chippenham, Christchurch and Stubbingdon, and the regional board has approved more new stores since these openings. As part of the portfolio review, the food business has sold the stores at Keynsham, Loxheath, Sherborne and Teignmouth, and we've sold those to Waitrose, and also approved the closures of stores in Plymstock and Plymouth. And with regards to our refit activity, we've launched four new format trial stores in late 2013, and we've also launched 30 new format Gen 2 refits so far this year, with another 32 still to be launched for the remainder of 2014. And we've also got 5 new stores acquisitions planned for early 2015, with more in the pipeline. And to give you an overview of some of our good news stories across our communities, back in January we managed to raise over £10,000 for the flood victims in Somerset and Dorset. We now have 62 community pioneers active in our refitted stores, and these colleagues are now in place to seek out how our stores and colleagues can better support the communities in which we operate. And we're also trialling community pioneer colleagues in our non-refitted stores down in the Southampton area. And we've also this year invested in pop-up shops where we can continue to serve our customers in local communities where we may have to close temporarily for things like a refit. So if we're the only store in a village or that local area, we have a pop-up shop come along and sell sort of basics and necessities to our local customers. And also we've been supporting our membership Let's Talk events in our new and refitted stores. So that's like a basic overview of some of the great things that are happening in our local communities across the Southwest.
Great, thank you very much, Paul. That's great. Tricia, hopefully we're here now and you can see and hear us. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, so we're all good.
Oh.
It all works. Magic. Splendid. So Tricia, from an elected member's point of view and as chair of the regional board, obviously the last year's had its ups and downs. What impact do you think all the changes in governance are going to have for the future of the group?
Sam, could you just say the last bit, the last sentence? I'm sorry.
Certainly, no worries. No. I'm just going to ask about the impact of the changes to the governance structures. What kind of impact do you think they will have, the governance changes for the group?
Well, they do have a big implication to the group because the group's going to be managed in a very different way. As far as ordinary members go, there are massive changes because they are going to now be able to vote on the member-nominated directors, on many decisions and motions. They'll be able to put forward motions. So for ordinary members, there's a massive change because of the new governance structures. In many ways, in stores and everywhere else, it's just going to appear business as usual. But the governance changes have a massive impact for ordinary members.
Mm. Okay, and what about members in the southwest region particularly? What are your hopes for members being able to play their part in the south and west region?
I'd like to think that in the south and west region we managed to get many more members engaged and involved in membership activity, particularly at local levels around their stores and in their communities.
That sounds great. And from your point of view, Tricia, as the chair of the regional board, how do you see the Southwest's performance of the businesses this last half year?
Well, the South and West is a good business in as much that we actually have the largest share of the sales. So the South and West is doing well.
Great, that's great. Andrew, we talked a little bit about moving from a rescue stage into something of a rebuild stage. Can you expand a little bit more on the group's purpose and what the next steps might be of that strategy and how the group might go about doing those kind of things?
Sam, the benefit of being in beautiful Devon is it's a beautiful place, but it doesn't mean to say that we get all of a very good internet connection. So I think you asked me, how is the group going to move from where it is now into its new rebuild phase? Is that right?
Sounds right to me.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Well, the rebuild phase starts on the 1st of October. We have a new governance process coming into effect with new board about to be appointed, and that will be ratified by members at the AGM next year. We're also going to be electing a new National Membership Council, which will take place again come next May. And in the meantime, what we have to think about is how members are represented in their local communities as well. We've got a number of projects in place which are going to revitalise the group. So, for example, one of those projects is about meaningful membership. What does membership mean to people? How do we reward members? It'd be great to hear from members about what they think. Similarly, how are members' voices heard in the group? How do members want to give us their views, and how do they want? It's a great time to be defining these things because it's an opportunity for members to really tell us how they want to receive information and how they want to tell us how they feel. Paul touched on the role that we're going to play in the community, and there are a number of initiatives that we're now bringing on stream to really boost the role that we have in the communities in which we trade. Many big retailers are criticised for taking, never giving. We've got a proud tradition of giving. We need to build on that. But we also need to look very locally at what's best for those communities, don't we, Paul?
We do.
So around your food stores, we need to be very clear about what's right for that community. We need people to tell us, don't we, so that we can then react accordingly. A number of projects that we're putting under the title of Fixing the Plumbing. These are some of the internal systems that we know aren't good enough, that we need to work on, and we need to make sure that we, for example, have a very lean, cost-effective support function for all of our businesses. That requires major system enhancers. So over the next 2 years, there's going to be major initiatives, major efforts made to improve the systems and processes that we use behind the scenes so we can deliver the best service to our customers at the front of the scenes. And I know Paul's here from food, but we also have a number of other important businesses as well. So, for example, funeral care, our insurance business, and our legal services business. We have to make sure that they're providing the right services for members, and we have to make it special for members. We should be having an offer that's actually unique for members. So there's a lot of work going into making sure that those businesses are agile and effective in serving members most appropriately. And the last part of what we're planning is all about our communications and how we work digitally in the future. So it's starting to build on the work we've done through our e-store, for example, to have a proper digital way of communicating with members and trading as well.
Sounds great. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
And obviously, in the very short term, we want to understand some of the ways the Co-operative Group is engaging with its members in food stores. Paul, I understand there's a new membership activity taking place called Swipe and Win. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening with membership in food stores and things like the Swipe and Win competition?
Yeah, I mean, basically, obviously we want to engage with our members through a key trading period for us, be it Christmas. And one of the things we're going to be doing to engage with our members is every time a member comes in shops with us and they swipe their card, there will be a chance to win a prize. And some of those will be on the spot prizes as well as bigger prizes where you're going to sort of a raffle. But yeah, definitely some great fun to be had by members through our key trading period of the year.
Excellent. Sounds like a good time to become a member or be a member. That's excellent. Just thank you very much for those of you who are watching. We haven't had any questions yet, but if you do want to submit any questions, you can do through the Google Plus event page or through the YouTube comments. And you can also, if you're on Twitter, you can follow us at CoopMemberSW and use the hashtag CoopMM if you want to ask us any questions about the results of the group. Tricia, we've been looking at different ways to engage with our members this year for our members' meetings. Traditionally, we've done very formalised meetings, if you like, in specific places. This year, the Co-operative Group's taken quite a different approach in the Southwest region. Can you give us a bit of an overview of the approach we've taken to members' meetings this year and what you think of it?
Well, we do have 3 normal, as we put it, traditional members' meetings going on in the region, but alongside that we've also got a series of these hangouts, which is one way that people who may not be able to get to a venue can join and have a say and hear about membership and the business. We also have a series of drop-in events at local stores. We've got one tomorrow in my local store in Thatcham, so that members can come in and have a chat and raise their questions and hopefully engage with us as elected members and also members of the stores. So it's good. It's great, I feel, to be able to offer alternatives, because particularly with a large region, it's quite difficult for some people to get to a traditional meeting. But it's a shame that they can't be part of the meetings and hear the results and talk about the results. So we hope that by offering these other alternative ways, we can engage and talk to more members.
Excellent. And when's your day in store? When are you off to in-store to talk to?
Mine's tomorrow. So anybody in Thatcham, come and see me tomorrow.
Excellent. So there you are. So if you're in Thatcham tomorrow, you can go and see Tricia, say hello. Oh, I see. We just had a question coming. And
can I pick up on that as well?
Sorry, what?
I pick up on that as well, please.
Yeah, please do, Andrew. Yes.
The initiatives that Tricia outlined are absolutely great, because it's about new ways of giving people opportunities to tell us what they think about the businesses. This year, we've also renewed the online members meeting, picking up on Let's Talk, the initiative we've been running since through the autumn, on different themes. Let's Talk moves into members meeting mode, in effect. So we've got 7 separate online members meetings, which we're running throughout the whole of October. And I'm not very good at remembering web addresses, so Sam, is it possible to put these up online afterwards? I think
absolutely, yes.
Talk.
We'll make sure everything's online after this event, yeah.
Thank you. But the main part about this is we really need to hear what members feel, what members think. And so either through a traditional meeting, a Hangout, one of the drop-in meetings that Trisha's going to be hosting, like one tomorrow, or through the website. It'd be really fantastic to hear about what members think about what we're doing and how we can improve it and make it more relevant to them. Not just in terms of how we trade in the community, but all of the work that we do across all of our businesses. I'm sure, Paul, you'd like to hear about some of the products, the more locally sourced products that we'd like to see in our shops.
Definitely.
And it's a great way of contacting us to tell us what people like to see there.
Great. We have just had a comment come in from Zoe. She's saying there's some brilliant feedback going on Facebook and Twitter, so that's good to know that people are talking about us on Facebook and Twitter. And the question is, can we do more of these? Tricia, do you think it's a good idea to carry on doing this kind of thing, to talk to our members and hear what they've got to say?
I think it's a really great idea, in spite of the struggle I had to get heard. I think it's a really great idea, definitely, yeah.
Great, thank you. Well, yes, I mean, obviously we've got scheduled in a few more Google Hangouts, so if you want to hear about some of the community activities that have been going on for the Co-operative Group in the Southwest region, then you can tune in next Thursday, which is the 9th of October at 12:30. We've got another one on the 16th of October at 6 o'clock in the evening, so if you can't do lunchtimes, then you can tune in then. That's when we're going to be addressing some of the governance changes in the Co-operative Group, looking in more depth at those, and answering any questions that have been submitted in the meantime. And then on the 23rd of October, we're going to do a bit of a roundup hangout, discuss all the things that have been going on with the members' meetings all across the region, so we can get a real flavour of what members have talked about throughout this period of reflection and a meeting in October. Great. We've got a few more minutes left, so maybe Paul, I can come to you and say, what are your views for the future of the food business? Are you optimistic about where food is going and what kind of things are going to be coming up for food in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think the future looks extremely positive. You know, we are on our True North strategy journey at the moment, and coming through that very strongly indeed. You know, we see week in, week out some great new products and ranges coming into our stores, the Loved by Us range and the improvements in quality. And they're clear to see, and you know, we've actually got, you know, our teams now, our colleagues in stores tasting these products so that they can actually tell our customers how good they are. And on top of that, you know, we've seen our fair and square pricing campaign with some great prices starting to come through. Recently, last week we had the 2 for £2 on 4-pint milk. We've got a great quality loaf of bread now in stores at 79p. You know, there's some fantastic products coming through, and it's really great to see. And our customers are starting to see in our stores. So yeah, I definitely see some great things happening. Our refit program, as I touched on earlier, you know, we've got 32 more of our what we call our Gen 2 new format launches to come this year, with a great program coming next year and some new stores coming as well. So yeah, it really does look good. Really does look good at the moment.
Great, that's really encouraging.
I work for the group. Sam, I live near one of the new format stores, and having been into it in old formats and having been into the new format, I couldn't believe I was going into the new store, the same store. It was so much improved. It was absolutely fantastic. It actually enough Paul in Chudley in Devon, but I don't think there's any coincidence, is it?
No, it's not. And I do just to correct myself, I think it was 79 for when I met 75.
Great. We are just about out of time for today. I think maybe the final word goes to Lisa Golding, who's been tweeting us. on Twitter. She says it's great to see Co-op membership engaging with members in new forms of communication, to have live briefings on YouTube and Google. And she's also asking if we can do these kind of things maybe evenings and weekends as well. So lots of encouragement on the Twitter sphere about what we've been doing, and I hope the viewers have found this interesting, informative, a bit about the results of the cooperative group so far this year. Tune in again next week at 12:30, that's Thursday the 9th at 12:30, if you want to hear a bit more about the community activities that have been going on in the South and West region. But for today, I'd like to thank my guests, so Andrew North, Tricia Davies and Paul Chudley. Thank you very much to you for being part of this Hangout. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week, hopefully. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.